To order, have the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilman Airwood.
If you bow your heads, please. Our Heavenly Father, we just come to you tonight and give you all the praise and glory for being here tonight and being able to make the decisions that need to be made for the county and for the citizens of Newberry County, and help us to make the right decisions, Lord. We pray this in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. Item number one on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion of council?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to accept the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. It carries unanimously. Item number two are first additions or deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose under our future meetings that we move our second council meeting in December from December the 15th to December the 8th. That would be a week from today, due to the ability to have a quorum. We already had some members that were not going to be here, and it also gives us an opportunity to move forward on CPST and some other things a little quicker. So I would propose that we move that meeting forward a week.
Hey, you want to do that as an addition to when we get to it, or?
Well, I was just, right now, that was going to be the addition that we would vote on to
Okay,
change
all right,
that.
I got you. All right, so we have a motion that we add an addition to an item already on the agenda, future meetings, to change that meeting. Is there a second that we have that discussion? Second. Is there any discussion on that? So we will add under future meetings a discussion of moving the meeting to the next meeting from the 15th to the 8th. All in favor of that by show of hands? Opposed likewise. Now would there be a motion to the amended agenda to accept it?
Make a motion to accept.
Motion and a second to accept the amended agenda. Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mrs. Airwood. Is there discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, and those opposed likewise. It carries unanimously. Item number three is consideration to accept the bid for emergency lighting. Crystal Water Purchasing Director and Tommy Long, Emergency Services Coordinator.
Tommy received funding from the state to purchase the message center lighting. It's $50,000 being provided by the state, and the remaining amount for $4,000 roughly would be coming out of his capital.
That's right.
Capital budget. And this is what it looks like.
Y'all see these all the time, but I was able to get 3 of these devices, so we'll be able to use them where we need them within the county to help control traffic or get messages out to the public. And they can be programmed through the internet. So if you need to change them without even going out on the site, you can.
Wow.
It's got radar detection on it as well.
Wow. Okay. I can't, those things are huge, and so I certainly appreciate you getting the state funds to help with that as well. Are there any questions for Mr. Long or Ms. Walter?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the bid.
Motion?
Second.
Second. Or is there discussion? Thank you again for doing that, Tommy. All in favor by show of hands?
Thank you.
All opposed likewise. Seeing none, it is unanimously approved. Next is a resolution to amend the guidelines for property rentals. Would there be a motion as to the resolution?
Yeah, I had asked that we delay this so that we could get some additional information. I see Erwin's here tonight.
Come on down, Mr. West.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
All right.
All right. Irvin, I had, when I saw that, I noticed that we were raising our rental rates, and I don't have a problem with raising our rates for individuals and groups, family reunions, weddings, or anything like that. But I did want to ask you a little bit about preparation and cleanup, both for Community Hall and Helena Center, since those are the two that were listed.
Right.
So I just wanted you to kind of talk me through what it takes to prepare it, how much time, what it takes to clean it up, how much time, any problems, and to kind of help us in making our decision.
All right, let's start with the community hall. I think everybody knows that community hall is an old building. We have done a renovation some 12 years back or something like that, and put it in the state that it's in now, which is refurbished it to a certain point. But the thing of it is, it still has a lot of old parts in it. There's still most all of the wiring in it is very old. Okay, the plumbing, for the most part, other than where we added the bathroom, is old. A lot of about 50% of the problems we have when we do rent it and everything is kind of related to that old stuff and everything. Some of the problems we'll get is the lights went out. Okay, the breakers, tripped, but they were overloaded and that sort of stuff. The wiring, like I said, it's old wiring. It's all in the walls. It's not an easy job to go in there and get to it. It's all in plaster walls, up in the ceiling, in between floors and all of that. So you just have to work with it when you get that particular problem and try to chase it down and fix it. So now. And so that's one of the things to remember about the community hall to start with. It's old, and most everything in it is used. And so, like anything, the more you use it, the more it's going to wear, and the more problems you're going to have. We have done a lot of renovation. We have fixed a lot of things, and like I said, it's a beautiful building and everything, and serves a good purpose. It depends on who's renting it. The Rotary, they're one of our primary, what I call the civic people or groups that use it. We set them up when they have their meetings, and basically we come in, set up the 12 round tables with 5 to 7 chairs around each one, and then we clean everything again. We've already cleaned after the last use, but we clean everything again, which is the bathrooms, the floors, the kitchen area, outside. So you probably got, and mainly it's the custodial staff doing that part of it, and you probably got anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 hours worth of those guys setting it up. Special events, especially this time of year now, when you get into the Christmas events and the festival events, there's a lot of times there's a lot of more setup on there. In the years past, we've been setting it up for Christmas, and in fact, I think we still got our tree. Mm-hmm. We still have a special tree that we got, but we hadn't set it up now in 2 years. But we usually set that up every time for Christmas, and that takes couple of days, and we get help from some of the community members and all like that. We assist them, and it's a kind of a joint effort. We put it together. So each time you rent it, depending on the request of whoever's renting and everything, there's a couple 3-4 hours worth of setup. Okay. Then it depends on what your next event is going to be. You can sometimes leave it as it is, depending on the schedule, and then sometimes you have to knock all that back down. You're taking all of those big tables and folding them up and putting them in the racks that we got, the carts, when we put them back there in the back room, and the chairs we fold them to, and that kind of opens up the whole floor area, if that's what the next group wants to use it for, is an open floor area. Or you could have a group that just wants all chairs and that sort of stuff. So there is some of the setup time on that. The cleanup afterwards, that once again, that depends on what group is using it. Sometimes the place is pretty well clean. They've bagged up their trash like they're supposed to, and empty their trash cans like they have, and that makes it pretty easy. Once again, we're coming in there and hauling the trash away, cleaning the toilets and the sinks again, and mopping down the floors and just a general cleanup. And that's a couple of hours again. Same thing, couple 3 to 4 hours, that sort of stuff. Sometimes though, the place is a mess. Okay, and you know, we're got a little more time to spend on cleaning up and all like that. So it depends, like I said, on who's using it and that sort of thing. The other thing is, it's always I always got to have one of the guys, one of the maintenance staff on call for. We have somebody on call every weekend, but usually when we're renting the facilities, so that guy's going to get a call out for one or two or both of the facilities. Toilet stopped up, won't flush, so forth. Lights aren't working. Power's not on this receptacle or that receptacle. Air conditioner's not working, froze up, that sort of thing. And so they're called out to go take care of those problems, and that can happen. It does happen Friday evening, Saturdays all time, Saturday night, and even into Sunday when we're in it on Sunday. And then usually once we find out what that particular problem is, we're back in there the first part of the next week trying to fix it, rectify whatever it was. If it's a bad breaker or wire has shorted out in a particular spot, we'll try to pull that piece of it and get it spliced back in. So there's the maintenance part of it too.
All right.
And then,
sorry.
Sir.
I thought you were through. I'm sorry.
I'll try to be short.
Okay.
And then you just get into the wear and tear of the whole thing. You know, it's a cumulative thing of being, you know, if you keep using. I know we got the deposit, but if somebody messes up one wall here or something like that, you know, that deposit amount isn't necessarily going to pay for that cost. As it adds on and everything, you get into the point where, okay, the building, the area is really showing the effects. Okay, and then we come back in there and do, like at the community hall, we do the floors ourselves with staff. We strip them down and re-wax them, depending on the use, but it had been in the years past every year. We've been doing that because even though it is a pretty nice hardwood floor, if you don't take care of it, and especially with some of the hard use we get, it starts getting scratched up and grooved and all like that. So we get in there, strip it down, and now we've done the light sanding. I have had it contracted out before where we had some real grooves and gouges in the floor, and I've got, you know, like Whitaker, somebody to come in there and really do the hard sanding and then do the refinish. But we do it like an annual thing, and then we'll do an annual thing on the touch-up painting in the community hall. But then once again, because of some of the old stuff, some stuff breaks. We just spent. I'm thinking $7,000 on the last line break. It was well, we had two of them. One was a hot water heater, one was the air conditioner. So, and it caused damage. In fact, it caused damage down below in the chambers big room. So we had water. Well, we had a mechanical repair we had to do. I forget exactly what the cost was on that. Crystal might know that. Fixed that problem, the piping and everything. I think on the last one, if I remember, it was the hot water heater. So we replaced the hot water heater, which is way up high in the attic area to get up there. And but what happened on that one is it created so much damage down below. It actually warped and ruined the flooring down in the community hall, that big room they've got over on the far side. So we had to replace that one. I remember that cost, even though it was engineered wood flooring, it was still $4,000 just to replace it, plus the other stuff. So you get into that every once in a while. you know. You go to Helena. Now, Helena's the newer building, so things are in a little bit better shape. Helena, the biggest thing that takes the hit on Helena is the drywall and the flooring and some of the plumbing. A lot of our calls are on plumbing there, and I don't know if we got good gravity coming out going to the city sewer or anything like that, but a lot of stoppages, so the guys are coming in, you know, and if you're in the place and you get a call for, hey, my toilets are stopped up, we try to get out there as quick as we can and get it fixed and everything. I hadn't done Helena now in a while, so I tell you, I haven't even been over there lately to look at it. But I remember our last repair, we had to repaint the walls. We took care of all the ceiling tiles that were damaged and everything, but the painting and the staining of the wainscoting and everything, and going on in through the back part, that was about $7,000 worth of cost. And it had only been a year before that, or maybe a year and a half before that, we had to repaint it again. That was about $5,000. So that room, that area takes a pretty good beating too. The floors is the old, well, it's not old, it's new, but it's vinyl flooring, it's VCT. Had we known maybe that it was going to get as much use when it was designed, we might have put some other kind of flooring in there, but being VCT, it scratches up and scars pretty bad. In fact, that floor will, I think Mr. Scurry's been over there, was when he came aboard, went over there and looked and made a comment about, or it might have been Mr. Reeder, I forget, about how it looked kind of ugly. And the fact is, I think we had just spent, I think that was right after or several months after we'd spent the $7,000 on the painting or something like that. But anyway, it's always, on that building, it's always a little bit of cost you're going to incur with the maintenance and everything. So.
Any other questions, Mr. Hill?
You know, some of the things you mentioned, like the failure of some plumbing or electrical, that's not really rent dependent. I mean, that's the condition
No, that's just
of the
that's a wear and tear.
And whether or not we charge somebody $100 or $1,000, I mean, that wouldn't matter. So obviously, it sounds like we need to do some capital improvements on the building, because that's a critical historical building that's a downtown icon. And so we need to maintain that building. We need to put some monies in the capital budget if necessary to work on plumbing and electrical. I'm trying to see like the preparation and cleanup. I mean, we're not bringing in contractors to do it. There's not an additional cost above and beyond our county employees that are already on the payroll. I guess I'm trying to process this.
I used the two custodians. For the most part, I used the two custodians that we have now. And like I said, if we're renting it on the weekend and everything, we'll take away from some of the other stuff we're doing on Friday. Or like I said, if we're setting it up for the road or something like that on Friday, and go in there and get it set up. Get the bathroom stocked with paper towels, toilet paper, and hand cleaner and that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, we're using our own in-house staff for that, and that's what we have been doing. Ice machine in both of them is, you know, a maintenance issue a lot. For whatever reason, you know, hey, it quit making ice, or it's out of ice and that sort of thing. So right. That's where I bring in the maintenance guys, and they'll work on that.
Well, the reason I had asked to get this information because I know Donna, you're still a member of Rotary, right? Rotary has done a tremendous amount of good for our whole community, and $100 a meeting. I don't know how that's going to work in the Rotary's budget, but that just seems, for an organization that does so much, I think the county, if we've got a facility, I don't think we ought to charge that much for its use. Donna, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think it is a little steep for Rotary. I mean, I would hope that we could give them a break.
And
we do a lot of
And I kind of feel that way about any 501c3. Now, Todd, I know you were saying that you can get a 501c3
Yes, sir.
pretty easy.
They hand them out.
But I would say any known reputable a group that does not do anything for profit that helps the community, I would like to see us give them some kind of a price break on use of these facilities.
But you and I are in agreement in principle in that it's just a way to do it legitimately. And I believe we asked at our last meeting staff to look at some language that could protect us.
You did, Mr. Chairman, and when you mentioned 501c3, my suggestion to you would be that you make it a recognized by the Internal Revenue Service organization. Now, I wanted to tell you, a 501c3 is not what you mentioned at the last meeting. Anybody can be a charitable organization through the Secretary of State. But if you go through the process to be a 501c3 or there's about 20 different versions of C3.
Yes.
If you go through that process, you have to go through quite a bit to get organized and recognized, and you have a yearly requirement to keep up with that. And it's not easy. So my suggestion was going to be, if you want to do something, if you say it has to be an Internal Revenue Service recognized charitable organization or exempt organization, should probably be better. I'll give you an example. Our county attorneys have an affiliate, and we are not a 501c3 because 501c3s cannot do any lobbying of any type at all. And sometimes our councils as county attorneys will ask us to speak to a legislative member. So we're a 501a6. So I would suggest you just, if you're going to do it, you do the larger, you say any recognized tax-exempt organization by the Internal Revenue Service. Now, you need to understand that if you do that, I'm assuming the Rotary is. I don't know. But we have encountered other times people who think they are and they're not. There was actually an organization that had been, but they'd not done their updates, and so they lost their exemption. So it's not simple to be an Internal Revenue Service recognized tax-exempt organization, and it requires annual filing with the IRS. So I just let you know that that's...
I'm fine with it.
Well, I think that's good.
Yes, I do too.
And I think we ought to give those organizations a rental break, price break.
Then any other, we hadn't called it for a motion, we're just kind of talking out loud, but any other comments on that?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. If you can go through and get the proper papers through the federal government, then you should receive a break.
Then would it be the wishes of council that we instruct staff to change that amendment to add that language to it and bring it back to us at our next meeting?
I would like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess it would also help for Crystal, who sort of handles that, to have an idea of what you want to reduce. 100's not a good number for those organizations, so if you would tell us what the good number is, and
What was it to begin with?
I was going to say, can we just leave it what it is for them and go up on everybody else?
I mean, as long as we have a number, we just need to know what to put in the...
Yeah, I think
Just
keep
leave
it
it.
what it's historically been
Yeah.
for those organizations, and for anything outside those organizations, we raise it to the proposed new rate.
Or any organization that meets the requirements.
That's
correct.
Yes.
And last question from staff's perspective, do you want that by next week's meeting? Or is that something that, I guess we need it by next week because you've got
We got
at
the
least two
JCs.
entities, I think, that are coming in
Jason?
January.
Yeah. So, yes,
We'll have it prepared by next week, a version for you to consider.
Okay.
fantastic. Okay. Anything else on that item? Hearing none, the next is the council to consider the American Recovery Fund's premium pay for employees. Just wanted to speak to everyone. We have a number of county employees, a number of volunteers here. We certainly appreciate you being here. We are continuing to move forward on a plan that will try to accommodate as many people as possible. It is our desire as a council. I speak for me personally, but I believe corporately, and I will open that up for everybody after I'm done, to say that we want to make sure that you all receive the benefit of this. It's our desire to meet the needs of as many people as possible. We were in hopes maybe to be able to do that now, but there was a hitch that came up that legal is trying to work out for us, that possibly maybe take a legislation change, I understand. So until we can get more clarification on that, we just aren't in a position to be able to move forward right now. So we appreciate you being here. I hope you aren't here just for that, but if you are, we still welcome you, and we'd like for you to be here anytime. So I will just go down on the end. I know this is kind of a hot topic, so Ms. Shealy, I'll start, and I'll just let everybody have to be able to say anything they want to on this, since it is an issue.
I concur totally with you. I would like to help as many people as we can, but we've got to go by what the law says, what the money was intended for. So,
Right.
Mr. Yip?
And the ARP allows for us to reimburse some of our employees, and that is our number one priority. As I understand it, the first thing that we're going to spend funds on will be our employees, and then we'll disperse other funds. So
Absolutely.
that is our priority, and I agree with you, Todd.
Yes, sir. Ms. Airwood?
That too is what I've said our priority is our employees, and we'll take care of you first, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the other funds.
Mr. Reed?
And I agree with that totally. And basically, we want to do what is correct, and not have to go back later on and try to explain why we did the wrong thing. So it's best to find out exactly what we can do with those funds, and we will definitely do what we can do with those funds.
Mr. Scurry? Reverend Scurry?
We all concur together. Like you said earlier, there's so much information out there now. We want to go by doing it the right way. And we all are studying the issue, but when we go forward, we want to go forward in the right direction. Thank you very much.
We have the best county employees in the nation, as far as I'm concerned, and we're thankful for you. And our goal is to take care of you and show you how much you're appreciated across all our branches of service that we have throughout the county. I didn't mean to go in front of you, Mr. Tony. If there's anything you want to add to that, you or Jay want to add to that?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. Other than to say administration agrees with you, we are working and have been working on numbers and running scenarios of what it would cost. So I think we've got some pretty good information for you. That there is the final question of getting the final regulation right now, and this may be what you were referring to, Mr. Chairman, but the regulations that are out now are interim regulations, so we don't have the final rule, which we do expect after the first of the year. But to be prepared to move quickly when that is released, we're running numbers now and again running scenarios to present to you so that when you're ready to make the decision, we'll be ready with the information.
And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let anybody else close that if they choose, is that our goal also is not to piecemeal it, to do a little bit now and a little bit there, to handle everybody in one batch so that it's consistent, everybody sees up front what is done, and everybody's done at the same time. So anybody want to add anything else to that? All right, hearing none, item number 6, update on the capital project sales tax. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real brief. As you know, and have even been involved in to an extent, a lot of activities are going on now as things are ramping up with the capital project sales tax. Earlier this week, the commission that you appointed several members to had an organizational meeting. I believe that was Monday. Also on Monday, the staff, Karen Bremer, made an excellent presentation to the Newberry County Governmental Association. I think some of you were in attendance at that and heard that presentation. Yesterday, the 30th of November, was the last day for outside agencies to make requests for council sponsorship of their projects. So we got another, don't have the exact number, but 8 to 10 additional requests that came in yesterday that we are trying to compile and review before we present that to you. So again, a lot of activities are happening all at one time right now, and we're trying to stay on top of that, and we'll keep the council apprised of that as things happen, at least at the council meetings. And if something comes up that you need to be aware of between council meetings, we'll certainly notify you by email or otherwise.
And yesterday was the deadline, is that correct?
Yesterday was the deadline. So all projects or all project requests should be at least in our hands right now. We haven't completed the review, but they're in our hands.
Any questions from anybody on council?
Since our next meeting's next week, can you, or Karen, whomever, email us those additional requests so that we would have those to kind of look at before the
I'll get you
next?
a composite list of what is for the county, as well as to just inform you what the other municipalities have submitted, so you'll know what's on there. One other thing that needs to be mentioned to you, Mr. Sid Crumpton resigned as a commissioner because he had conflicts in 2022 that he would not be able to attend. So Mr. Mike Reed has stepped up into his position. So we have a full commission with one alternate right now.
Okay. Anything else on capital sales tax? Hearing none, item number 7, appointments. Anyone have any appointments?
I have one.
Okay.
I'd like to appoint Aubrey Horn II to the Board of Rural Fire Control. Aubrey Horn I stepped down, and he wants to take his spot.
Okay. Have a motion for appoint Aubrey Horn II to the Board of Rural Fire Control. Is there a second? Is there a discussion by anyone? Second by Mr. Help. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, it is unanimous. Any other appointments? Hearing none, did I skip? I did. No. Public comments. Sheriff Lee Foster.
Thank you very much. We would certainly appreciate if y'all do anything with the ARPA funds, the consideration for the employees. We're in a very fluid employment situation. We are competing for employees, not only to hire employees, but we're also competing to retain employees. Law enforcement in particular is increasingly getting difficult to keep employees and find qualified employees to come in. With that said, those people that we recruit against, and unfortunately that's what it is, those people that we recruit against, most if not many of them have already issued the ARPA funds to the employees. And we certainly want to do the right thing, but we want to be able to maintain our employees and keep them in a state just as good, if not better, than our neighbors and those within the county. So we certainly hope that if it comes to pass, that you will give it strong consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. We certainly appreciate that. And I don't think anybody can ever take for granted having the finest law enforcement, the safest county in the state, and all the accolades that come along with the sheriff's office. So we're appreciative to y'all.
Speaking of all emergency services.
Yes, sir. Comments from the county administrator.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, just one more announcement that actually should be on the agenda, but for some reason it is not. But under your future meetings, there is actually at this point an Economic Development Committee meeting scheduled for Monday. which is December the 6th at 6 p.m. And again, that's not listed, so I wanted to mention that to you for those of you who are on the committee, so you'd be aware.
So there's an economic on the 6th.
I'm sorry?
Economic development on the 6th.
On Monday the 6th at 6. Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay. Comments from council members. We're going to do something different. We're going to go down to Reverend Scurry first.
We certainly are monitoring the money coming in, and I want to see every department looked into. Really go around the whole entire county, public works to the sheriff's office, and give all of them a piece of the pie if possible. We're looking in that direction. I can't tell you when it's going to be, but it's going to be fairly done. Thank you.
I totally agree with that, and I know very well that we have the best quality service in the county, city, and everywhere else in Newberry County, so we would definitely like to keep everybody here. It's nothing like, as you say, veterans running each department, so we need to keep everybody here as long as they possibly want to stay. I also like to wish everyone happy and safe holidays. I know we have parades coming up this weekend. I hope to see everyone downtown. And I am looking forward to all of the festivities that's going on in the month of December. So God bless all of you.
Yeah. Ms. Harewood?
Like I said a while ago, we are going to take care of our employees and all of our departments. We're looking at that. That's going to be the number one thing we're going to do with the ARP money. If I got that right, ARF money. So we'll hope to have an answer on that very soon and get that handled. I know we have some in our county that we need to lift up in prayer. Deborah Beard, for one, and there's probably others maybe. Got any others? I want to thank everyone that's been praying for my daughter. She's getting to come home tomorrow.
But Mary's daughter, Tammy, coming home. We did also have an injury to our that occurred with our finance director, so she's having some surgeries and some medical challenges, as well as, like you said, Debbie. So. Or Deborah Beard. So anyway, we'll keep all those folks in our prayers and wish for their rapid recovery.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hipp? I'm sorry, Mr. Shealy? I was looking at him and thinking you. That didn't work out well for me.
I echo everybody's sentiments. We certainly want to look out for our county employees. I know some other counties have beat us to the punch per se, but we don't want to end up having to get penalized for jumping the gun and doing something we weren't supposed to do after receiving some more information. We will get it out as quickly as we can because we know we had the finest employees around, all the way around. With that being said, we're working on it. Don't think we're not working on it and thinking about you. Hope everybody has happy, safe holidays as well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep praying for our county.
That's right. Several elected officials here and department heads, thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you more than you know and what you do to make this county so special. And we certainly have you all in our hearts and minds as well. Item 11A was an addition to the agenda for consideration of changing the next council meeting from December the 15th to December the 8th. I know that a couple of our council members have commitments that night. I believe Mr. Shealy's going to be out of town, and I will be having my back surgery that morning, and will be hospitalized for at least 2 to 3 days. So I think you would have a very difficult time having a quorum if we don't choose to move it. So would there be a motion to move that meeting to December the 8th? Reverend Scurry has a motion. Is there a second? Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, opposed likewise, so we will move that meeting. Tony, if you could make sure that all the proper announcements get made by staff, that meeting is moved to December the 8th at 6 p.m. Other future meetings will be county council, next one will be the December the 6th is the economic development at 6 o'clock that Tony just reminded us of. And then if you can even wrap your head around that, after one more meeting, the next meetings will be January 5th, 2022 and January 19th, 2022. We have flown through a year.
Absolutely.
Anything else from anyone? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Reader. All in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. We stand adjourned.